Last November, my husband surprised me with an early birthday present of a 10-day solo trip to Paris to see all the museums I could think of, and a very dear friend of mine who lives there as well. After booking the whole trip in coach with Delta, he also surprised me further with an upgrade for the long-haul portion of the overnight flight between Seattle and Paris, and put me in a Delta One suite, which I have never done in my life and never thought I would. So I thought I would video and take some notes and share a review with you guys from a layman's point of view in the fanciest mode of travel that I have ever experienced. I hope you enjoy it. I sure did, and I look forward to sharing it with you. Let's check it out. I did a little bit of research and ended up choosing a seat on the left side towards the back of the cabin by the window, with the table between me and the window. I'm left-handed, so I thought that would work, and it did. There was lots of storage under it. There's storage behind you. There's a water bottle and noise-canceling headphones, which I did not use. Lots of buttons. Oh my goodness, so many buttons. And then a nice pair of slippers for trekking around if you have to run to the bathroom and you don't want to put on your boots. An amenity kit, which we will get into in a little bit. More storage, and a menu, which we will go over in detail because the menu was like a 5-star restaurant and the food was amazing. We also had amazing flight attendants. I had Adam and Bob. There's more buttons down here who you can use when you're laying flat, which I thought was a really nice touch. Storage for a full-size trench coat. Laptops, magazines can fit in there. There's the bedding that I could not wait to dive into. A little bit of a storage spot for a bag. That's not a super huge bag, but I gave it a shove and it went right in, so it worked out. The door on my right, you can't see it here, but it would not close. I thought it was broken. They had to come and tell me that it doesn't shut until you are away from the gate and up in the air and done with takeoff. So I felt like kind of a newbie there, but it worked out. I kept coming back to these buttons. How am I gonna figure this out? I was trying not to act like too much of a geek. I actually jumped over the back of the seat at one point and told the lady, like, this is my first time, oh my gosh, and she's like, yeah, whatever. So I was trying not to be a nerd and film everything, obviously, like some kind of YouTuber, which I'm sort of not. So I was peeking down the hall and trying to kind of get a scope of the cabin, which it was a really nice cabin. Lots of legroom. I ended up taking my boots off and putting them up in the well there. So there was tons of space to stretch out in. Kept coming back to those scary buttons, but we'll go over some more of it. There was a lovely pull-out table, and I had Adam mix me a drink, which he had just put it together with ingredients he had, and it was lovely. A little bit of a beforehand snack, cheese, olives, and nuts. And then there's a mirror here, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but there it is. There's a remote for that huge screen. I didn't really use the remote because, again, I don't watch TV much when I'm on a plane, so I didn't use the remote at all, as a matter of fact. Menu time. Time to check out this menu. Dinner gave us an option to dine and rest, where you get everything all at once and go right to sleep, but I chose to get mine in courses. I chose the seared beef chuck with port wine demi-glace, potato gratin, sautéed mushroom soup, buttery green beans, and caramelized onions. But there was also a roasted Cornish hen with fennel flan, king oyster mushroom and port wine sauce, and a vegetarian option, which was a green asparagus flan with tempura fried asparagus, a parsley onion soubise, crispy edamame, and grilled orange. And there's a little salad on the side. Adam made me my beautiful pink Cosmo. This meal was so good, just as good as any restaurant. I was just so impressed with that meal. It was delicious, and I felt like the Queen of Sheba flying over the world. And I had Bob made me a beautiful dessert at the end without chia seeds because I asked. I will say that Bob and Adam on this flight were over the top amazing. I've really never had a bad Delta flight attendant, but these two were just super great, super personable and sweet, and it was just a lovely flight. After dinner and dessert, I was ready to dive into the amenity kit and the sleepwear and the bedding. So let's see what's next. Obviously the slippers aren't a fashion statement, but they worked. The amenity kit I couldn't get open with one hand, so I had to pause the video and then lay it out. So what we have here, another Delta pen, which I still have on my desk at the moment. A really neat little bag, everything came in. A preloaded toothpasted toothbrush. So it's already had toothbrush in it, you just use it, and disposable, so that was great. eye mask, which I have never used in my life, and I used on this flight, and I actually really liked it. The earplugs and the eye mask. I was able to sleep pretty much like a baby. I was not disturbed by anyone moving around or by any lights. I've never used an eye mask, and I would say highly recommend. Yes, close the window shade, put on the eye mask. Next, there was a little bag full of goodies, and this contained, I believe, 3 items. There was a little miniature hand cream, which I thought was a really nice touch. Used it before bed. It was just kind of a nice, thoughtful thing to add in there, and it had a really nice, pleasant smell that smelled like orange blossom, which I've never tried, and I would actually buy that lotion again just for that fragrance. It was just really nice. And also, my other favorite thing was this little tiny lip balm, which I actually have used quite a bit since. I put it in my purse and carry it with me, and it's really nice. It's a little hard, one of those lids that's a little hard to screw back on because it's actually very, very small, tiny threads. But a nice little lip balm, and then there's your set. So I made use of all of these things on this trip except for the pen. The earplugs were nice. They were actually nice and soft, and they fit, which is kind of a problem if you have smaller ears. But there they are. They're nice and soft, and I was able to use the earplugs, the eye mask, all of it. I used all of this. I used the slippers to sneak around to the bathroom before going to bed to brush my teeth, and it all worked out fine. So it was just a really nice little package of everything you need. You can see kind of a really cool onboard flight tracker, but also look how big the screen is compared to my hand. It's huge. I believe it's like 17 inches across. It was really, really big, and really had some neat flight tracking stuff that I haven't seen before. So we moved on to bedding. There was a giant zippered package with a full-sized, you guys, full-size bed pillow in like heavenly soft, with a regular human pillowcase on it. It felt like a regular bed. This was probably the highlight of the night. Pillow and a comforter, like a very nice, really better than I expected little comforter, kind of silky soft. It was just the right weight. I was not cold through the night at all, and kind of, you know, not anything fancy, but definitely really nice. The next thing I wanted to try out was get all situated under my blankets and then see how this seat works. And I was going to, I wanted to lay down and, you know, recline it and lay it flat while I was in it. And I was hoping it would work, and it did. So watch this. You push the button and it just slides you out. And as you're sliding forward into the leg well, the back behind you is kind of laying flat as you go down. It reclines and reclines, and then pretty soon you are flat on your back. And there's a lot of room down there. I'm 5'4", but there's room for easily a tall person to put their legs. It's not a giant width, as you can see, but it was plenty of space. Absolutely just fine. Again, perfect temperature. I wasn't hot or cold. I realized I left the lights on, so I had to get up after I filmed this and deal with that. Next, it was time to play with all these buttons. So this is the main panel, and it controls, there's a light up above. There was an interior light that you could turn on and then dim, which was kind of nice, so you could have like sort of a night light. It wasn't really a reading light, but definitely sort of a night light that was dimmable. And then you have a lot of choices here. There is a do not disturb light that you can touch for the outside of your door, so they don't bother you as they come down the aisle to ask if you want anything. The feature light is that light up above. You can dim or brighten all of these things. And the seat, as you can see, has a million choices, and I did play with that quite a bit because I'm a nerd. And it turned out that the recline feature of it was really, really comfortable. Like, you could recline it sort of to any spot you wanted to stop any of those 3 sort of choices. So it was really nice to move that around. To go with my perfect coffee, I had a choice of a breakfast charcuterie board, a quiche, or a coconut chia pudding. In hindsight, I probably should have done the quiche, but I went with the charcuterie. Even though I'm not much for meat and cheese in the morning, it was delicious, and I got to watch the sunrise over Normandy, which was the end of a perfect flight.